If I could have your attention here in the Media Center, we'll continue on with today's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series media availabilities, and we are joined by Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 Skittles Toyota Camry for Joe Gibbs Racing. Kyle is very good, if not great, here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Knows how to get around here. Swept the weekend here in the summer. Last summer, 6 wins total. Kyle, how confident are you, particularly coming off that win last week in Texas? How confident are you going into this weekend?
It's always a good chance to get to a racetrack after coming off of a win. So this come to Bristol, one of our best places after last weekend, is certainly a positive. You know, you got to understand that it's a completely different track and completely different circumstances and kind of what's going on. But you're going to do everything you can to try to back that up and win again. So you know, we'll see what happens here with Bristol this weekend.
If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll start with Dustin and then go to Claire and then to Kenny.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. I want to ask you about the All-Star package. I know at Indianapolis when you ran it in the Xfinity race, you expressed dissatisfaction with it. How do you feel in regards to it being used at the All-Star race and the direction of potentially looking at that type of a package for other mile-and-a-half tracks and losing some horsepower?
I didn't prepare for that one. Guess I should have. Stupid me. Yeah, no, I'm not a particular fan of it, but you know, we certainly do need to orchestrate some better racing at mile-and-a-half tracks, particularly Charlotte. For some reason, it's just hasn't been one of our best racetracks there since the repave with working multiple lanes. It's been pretty single file there for a long time. I don't know why. You know, you would think with age on asphalt it would continue to get better and better, and it just hasn't. So, you know, we continue to bring out more things to try, and I'm not a particular fan of slowing the lead car down and bringing that guy back to the rest of the field. But if that's what's going to create some action and some closer racing, then so be it. But as far as us having to do that every single week and continuing on into next year, now I got to give it a chance first. It's Charlotte to see what it's like before I completely throw it out. But you know, that's not what I signed up to be a NASCAR driver for, is to continue to scrunch the field up and take advantages away from those guys that are fast, you know. So that's that.
Go to Claire, then to Kenny, then to Bob.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Kyle, you have had some amazing moments here. The sweep, I just list them. Number one, I want to know when you first came to Bristol, some of your thoughts about this place, the history of this place, and then for you, like what stands out over all of the moments you've had here?
Yeah, I mean, coming here for my first time, it was in an Xfinity Series car for a test session with Hendrick Motorsports, and I remember I made it about 27 laps before the throttle stuck and I knocked the wall down. So, you know, with all the optimism and all the excitement and pumped up feelings that you had coming here and being able to make laps around Bristol, that was short-lived. But after that, it's certainly been pretty fun. You know, we've had some challenging times here, but also I've had some really good times here. So, you know, would just love to continue that here this weekend with our Skittles Camry. But overall, with what's the highlight? You know, you can't dismiss the sweeps here. I would say that the first one was really, really awesome, really, really special, and then you know, last fall's was as well too.
Kenny Bruce, KennyBruce.net. Going off of what Dustin was asking you about the All-Star thing, what do you have an idea of what you feel like you guys should be doing on the mile-and-a-half tracks that would make for better racing? No, I don't have any better ideas than any that are being thrown out there, so I can't complain, I guess, if I don't have any better ideas. But you know, the fact of the matter, though, is just I think we're trying to orchestrate something that doesn't quite exist. You know, even the trucks, they sometimes put on a good race. You know, they're obviously more aerodynamically challenged and such, and you can kind of draft up on a guy and things like that. But from what I understand is they're shooting for 165. That's way slower than a truck runs. You know, so that's going to bunch us up even more as far as Cup guys go, I would imagine. And you know, we'll see what it creates. I don't know what it's going to create. Okay, and when you come here,
with the changes in the track, putting the traction compound and stuff like that down, is it more difficult for you to adjust to changes in the track each year, or maybe changes in the cars that you guys have advanced from the previous year?
It's both. You know, here today, for some reason the traction compound doesn't feel anything like I remember it last fall. You know, so it's just not quite as grippy as I remembered it being. You know, so for some reason it's just easy to slip out of, whether you slip out of it with the back or the front. And it's really slick up off the corners, so that's kind of a different feel than we had last year. They stopped it a little bit shorter, which was asked for, and you know, I think it kind of just creates that uneasy feeling coming off of it on the bottom of the racetrack. But we'll see how that transpires here with the rest of the day with Xfinity cars and such, and if the top lane does get going today or tomorrow or whenever, that we'll see the discrepancy between them. I think that by the end of the race, I think the top's going to win. So how soon can we get there to practice on is the question.
We'll go to Bob, Jessica, Reed, and Jerry.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. Since Texas, there's been talk about the pit guns, the common pit gun. You've had the Monster announcement, and whether NASCAR will continue to have a series sponsor, the All-Star rules. Does it get overwhelming, or does it matter? I mean, do you pay attention to all this stuff? Do you think about this stuff? Does it matter to a driver?
It matters to us just based off what the sports landscape looks like. But as far as what I can control, I can't control any of it. So, you know, my focus is just on what I can control on. Obviously, I hear the other stuff, but it's in one ear, out the other. You know, the things that I can control is what I work on and how I can do my business. So, you know, I just try to work hard and be the smartest, bestest, fastest race car driver I can be, with no matter what package is developed and put out there on the racetrack. And we've tried so many different things over the courses of the years that I'm not so sure that you can fabricate racing into being anything better than what exists. You know, people say about how great it was back in the day. Man, you had 2 guys, 3 guys on the lead lap sometimes. You know, Richard Petty would win races by 2 laps at places. And now you have 25 cars on the lead lap. Competition's as close as it's ever been, and we're complaining about it because there's lack of competition. I don't know what you expect to be competition unless you want the last guy to be able to be the first place guy. There's always going to be a last place guy. It's been in F1 forever. It's been in NASCAR forever. Xfinity Series forever. Truck Series forever. You know, nobody's happy. So be miserable like me, and then nothing will surprise you. I think if you wanted pink ice cream with white frosting on it, you'd say, man, I really wished I had white ice cream with pink frosting. It's just everybody wants opposite of what they see or what they get, you know?
I hate pink ice cream. Let's go to Jessica.
Jessica Rappin with NASCAR.com. You and Eric Jones were kind of racing up there in the front at Texas for the win. Is there still that mentor pupil relationship there? Has that kind of evolved since you've been in the Cup Series together?
I'd like to think it's still there, but he doesn't use me as much as he used to. I don't know if he thinks he knows everything or just doesn't trust me. But no, Eric's been obviously a student of the game. So's Daniel Suarez, you know, and we all lean off of each other and we all pick each other's brain all the time. I mean, even so, I've asked Jones questions in some of our team debriefs and such, and asked Denny questions and such. So I lean on all my teammates, and so you know, as far as Jones calling me during the week or talking to me much, you know, about going to particular racetracks, what to expect, what do you think, stuff like that. I think he's probably been around long enough that he's comfortable with what he knows and what he's doing, and what he's got going on with his own team, that he doesn't pick my brain as much as he used to.
Jerry, Matt, then Woody.
Reed Spencer, NASCAR Wire Service. You said you think by the end of the race the top's going to win. Do you think it's going to take a long time to come in? And have you noticed any difference with the new right side tire?
Definitely, there's a difference with the new right side tire. Yeah, that might be the feeling that I'm feeling today. That's just different than what I had last time. Like I mentioned earlier, it might be the substance that feels different, but it could just be the tire that feels different. So there's something that's just not a familiar feeling. So tire could certainly be some of that. I think too, you know, when is the top going to come in? It just depends on how quick guys want to get off the bottom and start kind of burning in the top, if you will. You know, it gets kind of marbly in practice, so guys get kind of scared because your car will just take off in the rubber and hit the wall. So you don't want to do that and tear up a perfectly good race car. So Larson's normally the best. Did you ask him that earlier? When the top's going to come in, did you ask him?
No, I wasn't here.
Okay, all right. Well, Larson's the guy to know because he does it first. So we'll wait and watch that 42.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. With a 7th place finish average at Richmond, what are your thoughts going into the race next weekend? You said last weekend you had a couple good races coming up. How much are you looking forward to that?
I'm looking forward to Richmond. You know, we've kind of lost a little bit of what our handle was there a few years ago when we were really good. More rule changes to create parity, to take away advantages from other teams that kind of knocked us back a little bit. So we just haven't quite figured out what it takes to get some of that back. We're kind of 3rd to 6th or 7th there, it seems like, the last few times, probably the last 2 or 3 years, I should say. So that's 6 times. You know, hopefully we can get a little bit better. I know Kenseth was really good there, I think 2 springs ago. And that was under the lights, so we're going back under the lights, so that should be a little bit different of a feel for the race.
Go to Matt, then Chris.
Matt Weaver, Auto Week. At Langley on Thursday, you're going to drive a car that's prepared and owned by Marcus Richmond, who is your crew chief in the Truck Series. Just how cool is it to be able to work with a guy that's kind of a passionate racer, much like you are, and be able to go to that late model setting with him at Langley?
Yeah, those cars are just so different than what I grew up driving that I'm really not very familiar with those things. So Denny was there and I was there. We were both testing, and Denny got his car going pretty good, and I jumped in his car, and it was just a completely different feel than what my car was. And Denny's car was faster, so I tried to work on mine to try to continue to make it better and get some of that feel that I was looking for, like Denny's car had, but I just could never find it. So, you know, I'm not sure exactly what it takes to get there, but it's fun to just get back to the short tracks. It's a new short track I've never been to, so that's certainly compelling. You know, Denny, I don't think raced there much when he was younger, but a little bit. And it's going to be cool to get back there with a bunch of the late model stock guys that are great across the East Coast and racing against them and seeing what it's all about. So, you know, looking forward to that and the charity aspect and what all Denny's trying to do with the Denny Hamlin Foundation and helping the children and things like that he supports. So, you know, hopefully it's a good night for all of us.
Go to Chris, and then we'll wrap up with Bob.
ChrisKnightCatchFence.com. Kyle, it was announced yesterday that Noah Gragson will get 3 opportunities in Xfinity car, Richmond, Talladega, and Dover. How do you feel about that, and is he ready for this opportunity?
Yeah, I think he's ready for the opportunity. I think kind of getting him out of our hands a little bit would to kind of see what he does in other stuff is a good opportunity at this point. You know, I don't want to say it's kind of like he's gotten a little stale, but you know, it just kind of seems like we're stuck in that 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th range with Noah in the truck. So maybe getting him a little confidence boost in doing something different and kind of getting a different feel with different people might just give him a fresh idea of what to bring back and kind of help us with. So I think it's a good chance for him to shake it up a little bit. Looking forward to seeing what he can do in the Xfinity cars for JGR and to help better himself for us in chasing a championship this year.
Bob Parker, CSPN. You've got the Xfinity cars going around. You kind of own the races here a lot in that series. You won last week in kind of a one-race weekend deal for you. Is it getting any easier? Are you finding any better ways or good ways to spend your time when there's Xfinity race there and you're not running?
No, because typically when I'm not in the Xfinity car, you know, and right now there's a break between Cup stuff. 2 to 4 is normally Brexton's nap time, so it's not even like I can go back to the bus and play with him or do anything with him. So I'm kind of stuck in la-la land just trying to figure out what I'm going to do for 4 hours. So I get kind of bored sometimes, but figure out if I can make some excitement here in the next 3 hours and get ready for qualifying before we got to get back in the race car. So certainly wish I was running more races. I missed the chance of getting behind the wheel and getting out there in the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series, but a couple weeks I'll be back in the trucks at Kansas and Xfinity cars at Charlotte. So I've got some double duty stuff kind of coming up, and I'm looking forward to that.
Friday worse than Saturday?
Fridays are way worse. Yeah. The Saturday stuff gets pretty busy when you're running 2 or sometimes 3, you know. But Friday's definitely way worse because you're just stuck not doing anything.
Well, Kyle, thanks for taking
Adam's
the time.
about tired of me in the hauler. Like, I keep coming up with ideas, and he's like, you got to go. So
Thanks.
apparently those ideas aren't good ideas.